How's it going, YouTube? It's Poketom here again, and today I'm going to be going over one of my decks. It's my Team Plasma deck, runs off of electric and water energies, and this is by no means a finished deck yet. I just figured I'd put this up here and show you guys. So, I have the cards split here into energy trainers and Pokemon, so we'll go by them one by one. Start with the energies. Unlike a lot of championship decks, I run pretty energy heavy. I think in this deck I have 18 or 19 energy in it. So we'll go over those first. So for special energy, I have a rainbow energy. And I have 4 plasma energies, because as I said, it is a team plasma deck, so my EXs need those. I have 7 electric energies. And I have 5 water energies. I only have 1 water Pokemon in my deck. And then I throw 2 Psychics in there because of my Deoxys EX. I will be replacing these with Rainbow energies at some point, but as of right now I only have 1, so that's my energy for this deck. So we'll put those aside. We'll go over the trainers next. So since it is a Team Plasma deck, I don't run Pokeballs or anything in it. I have Team Plasma Balls here, so I have 2 Team Plasma Balls, so that's good to pull out any of my Stage 1 or Stage 2 Plasma Pokemon, as well as my EXs, or Plasma Basics. I really like Colress. A lot of people throw in a lot more Professor Juniper, or I guess the new one is Professor Sycamore, but I like putting Colress in just because you're not discarding your hand, and the more Professor Juniper you have, the more likely you are to be drawing a lot of cards out of your deck and running out. So Colress Machine, if you don't know what it is, you shuffle your hand into your deck and then you draw the amount of cards equal to the number of benched Pokemon on each side. So it can be better than Professor Juniper or Professor Sycamore, depending on how many bench Pokemon there are. Now, I have 1 Evo Soda and 2 Rare Candy in here. It's really situational, depending on how I pull my cards. So, for example, an Evo Soda, I search my deck for a card that evolves from one of my Pokemon into play, and I put it on that Pokemon. So, if I don't have the card in my hand, that's useful. But a card like Rare Candy, say I pulled out the basic and I have it down, and then I use, say, a Pokemon Communication, and I can pull out the Stage 2 into my hand. That's where Rare Candy would come into use. So I have 2 of those, and as you'll see later, I use that for my Magnezone. 2 Pokemon Catcher, really good card. It switches out your opponent's Pokemon. 1 Colress Machine, just to be able to pull a Plasma Energy. You can attach an extra Plasma Energy with this in a turn, so you could effectively get 2 Plasma or 2 energies on 1 Pokemon in 1 turn. So with this card, I could potentially power up my Deoxys or partially power up my Thundurus in 1 turn. And then Professor Juniper, really good card. It's been used in a lot of competitive decks lately. A lot of decks are running these in Colress now, just so you can pull as many cards as you can. I have 3 Frozen Cities in here, and essentially what Frozen City does is it's a stadium card, and any player that attaches an energy to one of their Pokemon that isn't Team Plasma takes 20 damage. So once I get all my Team Plasma Pokemon out, I'm taking no damage, and if the other deck doesn't use any Plasma Pokemon, they're going to be taking damage whenever they attach an energy. The only problem this card encounters is when you're against a card like Zekrom or Kyurem EX and there's Outrage on it, so essentially the more energy they're putting onto their Pokemon, the more powerful it is. And then Pokemon Communication, really good card. Put a Pokemon from your hand on top of your deck, and then choose any Pokemon from your deck. I think this might now be a banned card in standard decks, which makes sense because it is really overpowered, but I'll have to look into that. But as of now, I use Pokemon Communication. And then in the back, a Sharon and a Tierno, just so I can draw 3 cards. That's always useful. And then 2 Ultra Balls right there. So discard 2 cards from your hand and draw, and look in your deck for any 1 Pokemon. So now that we got the energies and trainers out of the way, I'll show you the Pokemon. I have 19 Pokemon in this deck. So right now, whenever I'm making a deck, I always like to start off with a couple Kangaskhan. So I have 2 in this deck. So The reason I use Kangaskhan is it's Call for Family, and most Call for Families you can only use it and then pull 2 basic Pokemon of the same energy type from your deck, but since it's a normal type, you can pull any Pokemon you want, any basic, and put it onto your bench. So with this Kangaskhan, say I were to play it and I got to attack first, I could stack up my bench potentially in 2 or 3 turns with all the basic Pokemon I need. So my Thundurus EX, my Deoxys EX. So yeah, that's a good card. And also, it only takes 2 energy as well for its Comet Punch. So if you get stuck for some reason and you can't switch out, 2 energy, you can do potentially 80 damage a turn with Kangaskhan. So definitely an above average card. I'd add these into a deck. Next, I have my Deoxys EX here. Since it is a Team Plasma deck, I really like having Deoxys, because I don't know if you can read it there, but its ability, Power Connect, my Team Plasma Pokemon attacks, excluding Deoxys EX, do 10 more damage to the active Pokemon. So with one of these on my bench, I'm doing 10 more damage to each active Pokemon, and with 2 of them on my bench, I'm doing 20 more with each of my Team Plasma Pokemon. So a really good card to have on your bench, even if you're not going to power it up and use it to attack. Just its ability alone, I think, is good enough for it to be in a Team Plasma deck. And then I have 2 Thundurus EX. They are the promo version, because all I can really buy is tins, because I live in the middle of nowhere, as I've said before, so I have to go buy these tins from Walmart. But still, Thundurus EX, great card if you're starting off with it. Raiden Knuckle, attach an energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon, and this is where to me Professor Juniper would be such a good card, because my deck is so energy heavy. Say I'd pull 4 or 5 energies on my first turn, I might get a Thundurus EX, and I might get a Professor Juniper. So you play Thundurus EX, then when you have all these excess energies in your hand, you play Professor Juniper, and then you just keep using Raiden Knuckle and can just stack your Plasma Pokemon on your bench. So I do have 2 of these, and I know my deck right now is looking a lot like the competitive deck, where you run 4 Curums from the Plasma Freeze with Frost Spear and something else I forget. But the thing with that is I was thinking about doing a deck like that, but then I realized that I like to make my own deck. I don't really like to base it off someone else, and my deck may not be as good, but it's more fun to play with for me. I like to have original decks. This Thundurus is more of just a filler card. I got this in like my first booster pack. The only reason I do keep it in here is because of Disaster Volt and Charge. So Charge, I can put an energy from my deck onto Thundurus, and Disaster Volt, I discard an energy. So once again, if I discarded enough energy with this Thundurus, my Thundurus EX could power up my other bench Team Plasma Pokemon later on. So now I get into my Magnemite, Magneton, and Magnezone. So these 2 Magnemites here, really not that good of a basic Pokemon. Same with Magneton. If I am playing Magneton, I just keep using Metal Sound. I have to keep the defending Pokemon confused so you can get time to play these Magnezones. Now, this, I believe they're from Plasma Storm. This is the Magnezone I really want. This was used to fill space. So I'll put this aside. But this Magnezone right here, my deck is, you'll see after, is really based around the Glaceon card, and its ability makes each Team Plasma card have 2 less retreat cost. But also you'll see this attack Gyro Ball here. Switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon, then your opponent switches. So essentially, when I get this deck set up with my Thundurus EX, with my Glaceon, and with my Magnezone, I'm just constantly switching out Pokemon. So the only way to really effectively beat this deck is with spread damage to hurt them on the bench. Other than that, this deck just keeps switching with different Pokemon attacking every time. And I really like its ability to dual brain. So during my turn, I can play 2 supporter cards. So I could play 2 Colress, I could play a Colress and a Sharon, Colress and a Professor Juniper. So being able to play 2 supporter cards in a turn really does help sometimes if your hand is lacking. And then so in my deck, I also run 3 EVs here. These are from the Plasma Freeze. Yeah, those are from Plasma Freeze. And then I run 2 of the Jolteons from Plasma Freeze. Again, this card is more of a filler card. The only reason I do really like it is it's quick to attack and also Electro Diffuse. So the defending Pokemon is a Pokemon EX. That Pokemon can't attack during the next turn. So when I'm really in trouble, I'll play one of these Jolteons and just use Electro Diffuse. And that Pokemon EX can't attack, because a lot of people are using Pokemon EX nowadays. They're just so strong and good to put in a deck. And then the main Pokemon that everything runs around is this Glaceon here. I love this card. If you want to get it, you can pick it up in the Frost Ray starter. The deck box looks like this. The Glaceon on the front. I believe it's called Frostray. It's somewhere here. Yeah, Frostray theme deck. So you pick that up. It's about $15. I would do it alone for almost this Glaceon card. So it's a Team Plasma card. 90 HP isn't too good, but its ability is the retreat cost of each of your Team Plasma Pokemon is 2 less. So my Thundurus EX can retreat for free. My Magnezone can retreat for 1 energy. My Deoxys can retreat for free. This Pokemon can retreat for free. So everything is constantly retreating and attacking, and it really works well with Magnezone because I would say I would have my Thundurus EX and only has 1 energy, no energy left in my discard pile. I switch it out using this ability here, Freeze Zone, attack with my Magnezone, and then it gets to switch out to another Pokemon that can soak up damage. And also, Icy Wind on this Pokemon, 60 damage, the defending Pokemon is now asleep, so that's a good move as well. So this is definitely one of my favorite cards I've had. I run 2 of those in my deck. So that's my Team Plasma, Water, and Electric. Sorry about that, guys. My camera ran out of memory space, but as I said, I'll be updating this deck probably in a couple weeks once I can get more cards for it. I'll show you guys my other decks too. I have a couple more running right now. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this deck. If there's anything you think I should change in it, any Pokemon, I'm always up for suggestions. And also, if anyone wants to do any trades, I'm really looking for a Magnezone. So if you want to do any trades, I have a bunch of cards. Shoot me a private message, and we can work something out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.